Hi everyone, my name is Ana Sofia Vildosola and welcome to my final presentation for Communication Design 2. But first, a question. Would you be willing to take magic mushrooms if it meant it would grant you a third eye? If you answered yes to this question, I think you would love my zine about the many benefits of magic mushrooms. And, as it turns out, the artist that I worked with, Maya Deren, found a different way to access the surreal realm through experimental film and the voodoo religion. It's titled Artifact Child. When I first started planning out this project, I was terrified. I knew I had to double check my alignments, and I knew I had to work on a grid, but other than that, I didn't know where to begin. So I started out small. I started laying out my text and arranging it nice and neat, but I found that the piece felt too lifeless. Mushrooms and crazy film directors are topics that I'm really passionate about, and I wanted that to come through in my work. And that's when it hit me. I remember thinking to myself that this was what had been missing in my work all the past terms. A personal touch that only self-made art can give. But I forgot about one thing. When planning out the look and feel of my magazine, I immediately knew I would be running into some problems. Mushrooms and their qualities are very maximalist, and Maya Deren's films are riddled with so much imagery that then the problem that I had to solve became, how do I balance maximalism so that I don't create something that's too abrasive to the eye? Everything I had been taught by my professors ran through my mind as I widened the inside gutters and checked my alignment. I thought about Maya Deren and her filmography while I listened to the Glass Animals' newest album, and that's when I decided to embrace the organized chaos. I remember I owned an extensive collection of National Geographic magazines and a glue stick. So, after a week of cutting and gluing like crazy, I came up with my mushroom ladies. My family was absolutely horrified, but I was ecstatic. They were my most beautiful creations yet, and the best thing was not how sexy they looked in my skincare article, but how much genuine fun I was having making these collages. For the last article, things got a little trippy. Using a friend who volunteered, I grabbed a projector and I tried to capture the surreal vibe of Maya Deren's films. At this point, I realized what an interesting story I had been making this entire time and how exciting it felt. Once I completed my zine, I created a short film that conveyed the feeling of Artifact Child, using juxtaposed sounds and images to create a beautiful yet bizarre vibe. Then, I created my kinetic posters. They feature my handmade vintage collages made out of cut-out National Geographic magazines. They were cut and pasted onto strange backgrounds, such as a nuclear explosion and an inverted sky and sea. Then, I created my first ever face filter. The first features a mask that highlights some beautiful eye and lip makeup that makes the user look like they just came back from a rave. And, when the user opens up their mouth, it reveals an interesting Maya Deren-inspired texture. My second face filter prompts the user to wonder what mushroom they are. After only a brief moment, the face filter will analyze the face and get to work to tell you what mushroom you are. In closing, I hope you enjoyed my presentation and were able to learn at least a little bit about my journey through the last couple of months in this class. I can even say that I learned something about myself too, like how I'm pretty good at collages and how I really love to mindlessly doodle. And yes, of course, I learned a lot about design in this project too. While I worked with a grid and checked my alignments, what I learned came after. Sometimes with design, I get so caught up in the rules that I forget how powerful the other facets of expression can be it a collage, photography, or paper and pen doodles. I invite you to never stop exploring different ways to create, in the same way that Maya Deren touched on a multitude of topics until her very last day. Thank you.